Okay, so everybody handed in assignment 2, did you? So you think you understood assignment 2? How did your graphs come out? How many graphs did you use? Oh, 1, 4. Either one's okay if you come up with a good story about what went on. Did anybody find out anything unusual about the stock offerings of your company? Yes. They gave an extra dividend? Yeah, that's okay. What's wrong with that? You understood how to count the dividends? How did your investment do? If you invested $1,000 in that company over the last year, it went down? Yours went down?
Yeah.
What company?
Oracle.
Oh, how bad did it go down?
Not too bad. I only lost like a couple thousand, like 2,000 to 3,000.
Out of 50,000, right? Okay. Yes. How much?
Well, I think it was 19%.
19%. That's pretty good. That's a lot better than a CD. A lot better than putting your money in the bank, in a savings account. That way you'll get 0.1% or something like that. 19%. Intel went up 19%. Oracle went down a little bit. What about anybody else? How did your investment do? Anybody do better than 19%? How many of your companies gave no dividends at all? What company were you talking about? Amazon gave no dividends?
Yep.
Google gave no?
Yep.
Which one?
Yep.
Oh, Dell gave no dividends, huh? Okay. Did anybody's stock split this last year? This wasn't a good year for splitting, right? Well, what it means is that let's say a company has 1 million shares of stock, okay? And then it decides to split the stock 2 for 1. Then it now has 2 million shares of stock instead of 1. And what it does, it gives new certificates out. And if a person owns 1 share, then they'll give them new certificates for 2 shares. And what that does is it just divides the value of each share into half. So if the old shares were worth $10, you'll get 2 new shares, but each one will only be worth $5. So it doesn't do anything except divides things up into smaller pieces, okay? But they do that when the stock has been going up. I mean, it's good in the stock market for a stock to split, because it means it's on an increasing thing, and they don't want it to get too expensive. They have sort of a range. Most companies have kind of a range that they like for their stock to be in, and those ranges differ. Like Berkshire Hathaway, the company that's run by Warren Buffett, 1 share of stock costs like $58,000. So there's a big difference there, Okay, so assignment 2 is over with. So we're now looking at assignment 3, and I just today posted assignment 3. So if you bring up your blackboard and you click on assignments, then you'll see you have an assignment 3 here. And if we click on assignment 3, we will see there's an attachment, okay? cosc1300 S12 assignment 3 docx. So we click on that and we open it up. So very short assignment, very short. Computer Science 1300, Assignment 3, Presentation Software. Redo your Assignment 1 Word document as a PowerPoint presentation or similar, such as OpenOffice Impress or Google Docs, okay? And be prepared to give the presentation. Follow best practices in creating your presentation. What are best practices? Well, I'll talk about that. Make only 5 or 6 slides for a 5-minute presentation. Have good graphics selected from pictures, charts, timelines, artwork. Keep text to a minimum. I guess they want me to update everything right in the middle of class. Keep text to a minimum. Major points only. Large readable fonts. Select a pleasing template, okay? Due date March 24th, 2012. So next week, you know, is spring break. And so there'll be no classes next week. And so this gives you next week, well, it gives you all of this week, plus next week is spring break, but I don't expect you to work during spring break. And it also gives you the week after that, okay, to get this assignment in. Okay, so I'll talk a little bit more about what I think is best practices and what makes a good presentation, okay? But other than that, is there any questions about this? I mean, I assume most of you will actually use PowerPoint, okay? However, there is, I've mentioned before, OpenOffice is a suite of Office programs you can download from the internet, and it's free. And this OpenOffice has a presentation program called Impress, and so you can use that, and it's very much like you know, PowerPoint. And even the file type is .ppt, just like PowerPoint. There's also something called Google Docs, and I might just say a few words about Google Docs, okay, in just a minute, again. So you can use Google Docs, or you can use Impress, or you can use PowerPoint. So if you're on a Mac, that's okay. There is, you can download Open Docs to Mac, okay, or OpenOffice to Macs, and also you know, Microsoft has versions of PowerPoint and its Office suite available for the Mac. Okay, any questions about this? Okay, so there's that. All right, now let's look at the agenda. Let's see where we are. And so on March the 6th, that's today, this is the 8th week, okay, of class. And this week we're going to talk about Google Docs and publishing, okay. That's in S12, okay, in your textbook. It's also S12 in the PowerPoint slides available. S, of course, means it's a skill. And so I think S12 basically presents Google Docs, okay. And what are we going to do this week? We're going to hand out A3. That's just what I just did, okay. And we're going to have E2. That means we're going to have an exam number 2, or quiz number 2. All exams are on Thursdays, okay. So this exam will be this coming Thursday. So it'll be at the end of class, just like exam 1. And the length of this exam might be a little bit longer. I think it has a little more questions on it. But it'll be between 30 and 40 minutes, okay? And it'll be online at the end of class, just like exam 1. And what will this exam cover? Well, it will cover everything since we had exam 1. Exam 1, if you remember, covered digital technology. Okay? It covered OS web research. It covered hardware. It covered intellectual property rights, software, and digital life. Okay? So basically everything up to spreadsheets. Okay? Exam 2 is going to cover spreadsheets and internet. Okay? And it also may cover a little bit about presentation software, which is what I'm going to talk to today. It may also cover a little bit about Google Docs, okay, which I'm going to cover today. Okay. You guys have any questions about that? Yes. What? Spreadsheets, internet, presentation software, and Google Docs. Okay. The emphasis is going to be on spreadsheets and internet. And so those are the main things that you want to look at. Okay, so let's talk about internet then for a minute. Internet was CO4. Now, how far did I get on the internet? Okay, let's see. I think I covered a lot of this stuff here. Okay. I got up to cookies. Okay. All right. So internet backbone, TCP/IP, internet service provider, client server, router, domain name systems. Okay. Port. Voice over IP, Internet 2. Okay, so last time I talked about different boxes that one finds in a network. Okay. Now, of course, you find computers connected together on a computer network, but there are other kinds of boxes. Okay. So, what kind of boxes do we have? Okay. Now, who haven't I called on here yet? April Shaver, are you here today? Hi, April. How you doing? What kind of boxes do you find on the network? You don't know. April. You should have watched the. I'm recording all this stuff, you know, so you can look at it. And so, you know. Okay, so that's not too good. All right. Is there anybody else I haven't called? Even once? What's your name? What's your last name? Elba? Yeah, no, I called. I did call on you. You weren't here. Well, but I'll call on you today. What kind of boxes, okay? You don't know. Okay, you got a 0 there. Omar Atia. Omar Atia. Trevor Bello. Jason Brofman. Jason, what kind of boxes do you find on in a network? What?
On a network?
Yeah.
Server boxes?
Yeah, that's good. The server. Okay, good. Some of you get a check mark there. Okay, Ian Den? Yes? What was your name? Grace. What's your last name? I have an Omar Atia. A-T-T-I-A. Oh yeah, Grace. No, I didn't call on you. You already have a check. I've already called on you twice, and you answered both my questions. You're doing great. Okay, Heen Den, D-I-N-H. Okay, the first name is Heen. Heen. What kind of network boxes do you find? What kind of boxes are there on networks? What? A router. Oh, good. Router.
Have another shot.
That's good. That's good. Nellie Doe, D-O. The Nellie. What kind of box? Give me another box. Well, I'll take that, a modem. Okay. That is true. You do find them. Juliet Emilog. Name me a box, Juliet. A what? A computer? Yeah, but I'm saying what the boxes do you find besides computers? Gateway. Good. Okay, Salman Faroki. S-A-L-M-A-N, Salman Faroki. Masha Fatinjad. Azim Hashmi. Azim Hashmi. Okay. Emily Hay. Emily Hay. Eduardo Hernandez. Yes, sir. Give me another one. A hub? Good. Oops. Ah. That's great, Gordon. Okay, so we've got server, router, modem, gateway, hub. There's also a repeater. Okay, Isabel Hun. Isabel Hun, H-U-Y-N-H, Hun. Safia Imtiaz Udin. Safia, what is a hub? It's something you put on your car. No, in a network, in a computer network, what's a hub? Well, here, this is my computer here. I can plug in a USB. What? Okay, I'll accept that. So what a hub is, it's a little box. It looks like this. And it has these little places in it. Okay, exactly. You know, like you said, that you hook in. It looks like a phone jack, right?
Right.
Except those aren't phone jacks places. They are what?
Ethernet.
Yeah, these are Ethernet ports. Okay. And so basically a hub is used to connect computers together. So basically all computers, so you have a computer here, it will normally have an Ethernet port on it, okay? And so you basically get a wire, okay? It's an Ethernet connector, and it has an Ethernet connection at both ends, and you just hook this from the computer to the hub. Okay. So you have another computer over here. It has, you know, you connect it to the hub. Okay. And you got another computer over here. You connect it to the hub. Okay. And so what does this do? Connecting all these three computers to this hub. Well, it allows these computers to basically transfer information between them, okay? And so if this is computer, you know, computer A and computer B and computer C, then this Ethernet connection allows computer A to send information and receive information from computers B and C, okay, and vice versa. Okay? All three of these computers are now networked together, and information can flow between them, okay? And there are different types of hubs, okay? There's hubs where when one computer is using, you know, the hub, other computers can't, okay? So there's, you know, something called half multiplexing and full multiplexing, okay? Half multiplexing means stuff goes, you know, one at a time. Full multiplexing, they go both ways at the same time. And that, whether your hub is a half multiplex or full multiplex, depends, you know, on the hub. And full multiplex hubs cost a little bit more, right? That's a hub. Okay, good. What's a repeater? Elizabeth Jalifi.
That's my middle name.
Oh, sorry. Madeline, sorry. Madeline Jalifi. Madeline Jalifi.
You have to go to
Yeah, what's a repeater? It's something that repeats, right?
I don't know much about that.
You don't know what a repeater is? Oh. Okay. Gregory Cam, K-A-M, Gregory Cam. Gina Kim. What's a repeater? Okay, what's your name now? No, let's go. Howell. Okay, Jordan Howell. Jordan, you've already got 2 checks. She's going for a straight A, right? Tell us what a repeater is. Right. Why do you need a repeater? That's right. How far can a signal go in a computer network without a repeater? How far in feet? Huh? No, 50. So repeaters are needed about every 50 feet. Okay. So if you try to connect 2 computers together with Ethernet and they're more than 50 feet apart, it won't work unless you put in repeaters. Okay. You got to have 1 repeater for about every 50 feet. Okay, so that's repeater. We've got that hub. We've got that. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Jordan Howell. I got to give you another checkpoint. You're the leader in the class in getting checkpoints here. Han Lee. L-E. Han, H-A-N-H, Han Lee, L-E, Han Lee. Okay, Jeffrey Lee. Jeffrey, what is a gateway? No, not exactly. Let's see, we've got gateway, router. So a gateway has a particular function. What? Yes. Well, I'll accept that. Basically, a gateway is a computer that basically joins 2 networks together. So basically over here you've got a bunch of computers here in a network 1. And you got a bunch of computers over here in a network 2. And a gateway is a computer that you put in, okay, that has a connection to both, okay? And it then basically makes a bigger network, okay, out of these 2 smaller networks. And but it has to be sort of a fast enough computer and broadband enough so that this is the only way that information can flow from network 1 to network 2 and back. Okay, they all have to go through this computer. So usually the gateway computers can't do much else, right? A lot of traffic, and then they're basically designed to handle that traffic. Okay, so what's our router? Mingi Lin. M-E-N-G-D-I, Mindy Lin, L-I-N. L-I-N? Yeah, is that you? Yeah, what is it? Sorry? Manages network traffic. How does it do that? I mean, all computers basically have to sort of manage. And how does it do that? Okay. Well, you did get the answer, though. I'll give you credit. Okay. DNS. Okay. DNS. Okay. What's DNS? Okay. Alyssa Martinez. Alyssa, are you here? Okay. Cao Kui Nguyen. Okay. What's DNS? Yeah. Well, almost. Yes. Domain name service. Yes. Right. So, Kyle, I'll give you a half on that. What's your name? Zimmer? What's your last name? Oh, Samuel. Oh, Sonia Samuel. Okay, good. Good. Sonia, you've got two marks. Okay, 2 good marks. Okay. Domain name service. That's how routers work. Basically, they use this domain name service, and this domain name service is sort of like the yellow pages, you know, of the internet. And it basically, how does DNS work anyway? I mean, just kind of a. Yes. Okay. I'm sorry. What's your name again? Sorry. Oh yeah. Right. Yeah. So you missed something. So you're trying to recover, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me how DNS works.
It's like a phone book for the internet to make sure all the packets get forwarded and stuff.
Yeah, but can you be more specific about how it works?
You want me to talk about like how it chops up on the
Yeah.
like an email?
Yeah.
Like it would chop up an email to like.
Oh no. How does it? How does it know how to route things? I guess. Yeah, and how does that work? Yeah, so suppose I have something that says l1 dot cs dot uh dot edu. Okay, and suppose I want to you know, say go to this computer here. Okay, and suppose I do http:// okay, and so l1 csuhedu. Okay, so if on my computer, if I bring up my browser and then I try to you know, contact this particular URL. What's a URL? I mean, this here is a URL. Okay, what does URL stand for? Yeah. Right. Okay. But I can't give you a check because that would have been the question I wanted to ask. Okay. I'm talking about routing right now. Okay, and I'm with the yeah. I'm with Mr. Alba here. So if you bring up your browser and you then try to access this right here, then you have to have a local router. Okay. So if you're on a computer, just your computer here, you'll have a local router. Okay. And so when you type in this thing here in your browser window, basically this will go to your router, and your router's basically has to find this machine, okay? And the way it does it is, it's kind of goes, there's kind of the big picture, the middle picture, the little picture, okay? And actually the big picture is out here at the end. It's all the EDUs, okay? So on the internet there are the EDUs, there are the COMs, right? There are the govs, right? There are the, what else? ORGs, the ARGs, okay? And then internationally, there's, you know, JP for Japan, you know, UK for the United Kingdom, okay, and all that. So this last part of this URL is kind of the big part. So on the internet, there are certain machines spaced around the world, okay, that are in charge of the EDUs, okay? And this router here knows the closest one. It knows there's some machine around here, okay, that it's if it's trying to get to an EDU, it knows to go to a particular machine here that handles EDUs, okay? Now, a different router in a different part of the world would go to a different machine, okay? It'd be its local EDU handler. See? Then this particular EDU handler then would say, okay, what's the next level, okay? And it's UH, okay? So this EDU handler up here, this is the EDU handler. It knows where the UH handlers are, okay? And in fact, there might only be one UH handler, okay? It depends, okay? But all the UH handlers are going to be here at the University of Houston, okay? Depends on how much traffic there is, okay? But all the EDU handlers in the world have to know, you know, how to get to some UH handler, okay? This UH handler then says, okay, I need a machine that handles the CSs, okay? And it finds one. Okay? And the CS handler says, I need machine L1, okay? And it finds it, okay? So it's basically a system of machines around the internet that handle from big, you know, handle big parts of the internet and smaller parts and smaller parts and smaller parts. And that's how the domain name service works. Okay? Okay. So we've talked about internet backbone. We've talked about, you know, internet service provider just gives you the client server, router, domain name service. We've talked about port. What's voice over IP, VoIP, okay? What's VoIP? Okay, Langwin. What's VOP? Or VoIP, sorry, VoIP. Langwin. Okay, Eduardo Obregon. Ah, at long last, you can be called on. What's VoIP? Yeah, and what does that mean? I'm sorry?
Do you communications with the internet and data network?
You can use communications?
Use your voice communications using the internet.
Right, that's right. Right. Mhm. What's an example of that? What?
Phone, Skype, FaceTime, something where you can see somebody else.
A product.
Yeah.
You know a product that uses VoIP?
Phone?
Yeah, but what particular product? The jack, right? You heard of the jack?
Yeah.
What's the jack?
No.
Anybody heard of the jack? What's the jack? What? The magic jack? Yeah, what's a magic jack? Right. That's what it is. And what does it cost? What does it cost? Yeah, I think even less, $19 a year, I think, something like that. So basically, you call this company up that sells magic jacks, okay? And they send you a magic jack, right? What is a magic jack? What does it look like? It's sort of like a hub. It's basically just a little wire thing, okay? And one part of it plugs into your computer, okay? And the other one is like a wall jack. What? Well, as far as I know, all the models of the Magic Jack can do that. I mean, basically, one end of it hooks into your computer, okay, like an Ethernet port. The other end is like a wall jack to plug your telephone into a wall jack, okay? And so you just plug this thing in, okay? And then you got your telephone hooked up, you know, and you can pick up your telephone and make a telephone call. You know, and you make telephone calls that way. So you're using the internet, okay, for your telephone service, okay? And it's really cheap telephone service, right? Now, does anybody here do that? I've heard the service is not good, okay? Now, I hope I don't get sued by the Magic Jack here saying that, but I'm just saying what I heard, okay? I'm not saying it's bad, I'm just saying I've heard it bad. Right? That it drops calls. You'll be in the middle of talking to somebody and the call just gets dropped, okay? A lot of static on the line, okay? I've heard that, okay? But anyway, that's the idea. What is Internet 2? Guess I better call on somebody, huh? Let's see. Kenneth Oliver. Kenneth Oliver? That's here. Lauren Orda. What is Internet 2? Yes, that's right. It's a network. That's right. It's going to be the new internet one of these days, right? One of these days there's going to be the internet's going to stop functioning and it's going to be suddenly taken over by Internet 2. Okay? And it's just a much faster network. And it hasn't been open to the public yet because people are still working on some of the newer, faster protocols that's going to be there. The University of Houston is on internet too. In my office, you know, I have access to internet too. And what?
Do we have access?
No.
I was gonna say, ours is really slow internet.
And so, you know, but it's basically going to be the future internet. Okay, Lauren, I'm going to give you credit for that. Okay, so internet backbone, TCP/IP, internet service provider, client server, a router, oops, skip something. Client server, peer-to-peer, domain name service, okay? The domain name service maintains a database of all domain names, okay? IP addresses. In a computer network context, a port is an address used by clients and servers that's associated with a specific service. So there is a port for each different protocol. Right? There's a port for the HTTP protocol. There's a port for the Telnet protocol. There's a port for the FTP protocol. UIP. Internet too. Okay, so now we come to web technologies, okay? So web browser, web server, URL, HTML, okay? So let's see, web browser, web server. So what's a web browser? Okay, Tracy Palos. Tracy, are you here? Nicole, Paul. What is a web browser? A little louder. I still can't hear you.
It's a web client that allows you to browse the internet with Safari, Firefox.
Okay. I'll accept that. Yun Ro. Yun Ro. Y-U-N, Yun Ro. R-O-H. Ro. Ryan Sabu. Ryan, who invented web browsers? Whose idea was it? You don't know? Does anybody know this? Maybe I haven't covered this. Yeah. Okay, so I won't count it off. Have I covered this? What's your name? Connie? What's your last name? Poe? Tio. Tio. Connie, who invented it? Who? Okay. But what organization did he work for? Well, basically, web browsers were first used in an organization called CERN. CERN is the European Atomic Energy Commission, and they run this big high-energy physics laboratory. It's actually a huge accelerator, neutron accelerator. And it's in Switzerland. And they came up with the idea of a web browser. And they came up with the idea of web pages. Now, originally, these computer networks, like the internet, didn't have web pages. I think I mentioned before that the original internet was formed by a project called ARPANET, and this ARPANET, stood for the Advanced Research Projects Administration, part of the Department of Defense. And the original reason for hooking up these computers in the Department of Defense, they had 3 applications they wanted. So the original internet, okay, had 3 things they wanted. They wanted email, they wanted file transfer, and they wanted remote logon. Those 3 applications were the original ARPANET, and that's what networks were for quite a while, actually. And as long as people could do their email and file transfers and remote logon, that's all they wanted. There was no web pages, okay. And so finally, then these web browser came up, and the web pages, came from CERN, and that gave a whole different complexion, okay, to the idea of the internet. So so let's say you have some organization, okay, and this organization, let's say it's some company, okay, and this company has some products to sell, so the company has a bunch of computers, okay. And these computers are usually, hooked together in some kind of network, right? And so one of these computers is selected to be the web server for the company. And there is a port, for HTTP. Okay? And so this particular computer has a program in it, okay, that services this HTTP port. And so anybody on the internet, okay, that wants to find out about this company's service, okay, will use the URL, okay, for the company, and that will then basically this is the server. It'll be a client, basically, to this server, and the server then basically has all of the web pages for this company. And so basically this client can interact with this web server, and it can progressively see the various pages, web pages, that are available, by this company. URL is a uniform resource locator. We've talked about that. HTML. What's HTML?
Hypertext markup.
Oops. So HTML is the hypertext markup language, and this is what was invented by CERN, basically. And so this hypertext markup language has all these funny things in it here, okay? So for instance, here is, it says, left arrow, head, or right arrow. And so in HTML, in the HTML language, okay, that says this is the beginning of a heading. So on your web page, okay, there's going to be a heading, and it starts right here. Down here is the same thing, except it has a slash in front of it, okay? It's left arrow, slash, head, right arrow. That says this is the end of the heading, okay? So everything between head and slash head is the heading. And so the HTML, the web server basically makes that look like, a heading, okay? The heading consists of a title, okay, and some other stuff, okay. XML is the extensible markup language, okay. It provides a method for describing and classifying internet delivered data so it is easier to organize and manage. Basically, it's an extension of HTML. The latest thing out in this is called HTML5. Has anyone here ever heard of HTML5? That's sort of the latest version of this kind of markup language. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. Cascading Style Sheets is some software that people use for designing web pages. So if you're into the business of designing web pages, there are various tools that you can use to design these web pages. One of the tools are these cascading style sheets, okay? And CSS allows easy application of visual styles for fonts, colors, layout, and other page attributes to create a visual theme. Web development software allows developers to create web pages more easily. WYSIWYG, okay, implies the web page you design with the web development software will look the same when you publish on the web, okay. WYSIWYG stands for what you see is what you get. Cookie, I've talked about cookies before. A plug-in, also called an extension or add-on, works with a web browser to offer extended services. Usually when you first bring up your browser, it'll ask you whether you want to allow add-ons or not. web programming, the development of software written to run either in a web browser or a web server. Really simple syndication, RSS. Really simple syndication, RSS, is a web technology used to automatically deliver frequently updated web content, such as blog, podcast, and news in a standardized fashion. What this is called is something called pushing. Okay. Pushing. Okay. Pushing is when a machine actually pushes stuff onto your machine, okay, and onto your web page, okay. It's actually something you subscribe to, and basically you can go, say, to the New York Times, and you can subscribe, to RSS, okay, from the New York Times, and you say anytime something mentions some particular person, let's say Madonna, okay, you're a follower of Madonna. Okay? You can say, anytime anything is mentioned about Madonna, I want you to tell me about it. And so that's what happens. You'll be going along working on your computer, and all of a sudden, boop, this thing comes up, okay? And new information about Madonna, okay? And that's called RSS, okay? Really simple syndication. Okay, web applications. So search engine, portal, internet communications. There's a lot of more stuff here, isn't there? I want to talk about search engines. So search engines, of course, are programs that find things on the internet for you. Now let's suppose you are a company, and let's suppose you're selling bicycles, okay? And let's say then you get some web pages, and so when a customer basically, when a client actually hooks onto your web server, you can present that customer information about bicycles. But how is somebody going to find out about your web pages and about your company? Well, they're going to go to Google, right? And let's say I'm interested in buying a bicycle, okay? So I'm going to bring up Google or Bing, yeah. And in the little box there, the little search box, what am I going to type in? Bicycles. Okay. Type in bicycles, I'm going to hit, and then what happens? When I bring up Google and I search for bicycles, okay, and click enter, what happens? Suddenly Google gives me all the hits of bicycles, right? Now how many hits is it going to get on bicycles? Yeah, say a million. Yeah. It'll say found a million. It's a million web pages. Let's say bicycle. Yeah. Okay, now where is your company going to be in that list of 1 million?
Somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, 500,000. Okay. Now, what's the user going to do? I mean, the only thing the user is going to be able to see is the first few, right? And so the user is going to look at those first few and maybe click on them, okay, and look at their web pages about bicycles and maybe buy a bicycle from them. It's never going to get down to you 500,000 down, right? It's just never going to happen. And so you wasted all your time and effort, you know, making web pages for a bicycle. Now, is there anything you can do to get your web pages raised in the rankings? Advertise, yeah. So you give Google some money, okay? You give Google some money, and you're going to be much higher in the ranking, okay, than before, right? There's also some things you can do besides giving them money, yeah. Have them refresh what? Well, I mean, you can refresh. You know what's on the screen, okay? Well, if you know how Google's search engine works, then I mean, if you knew exactly how the search engine works, you could, you know, take advantage of that and design your web page so that it got high up in these rankings, right? Now, there are some things that we know, okay, about Google's search engine, okay? If you're looking for a word, if that word appears in the heading of your web page, Google gives that more credence, okay, than if it's not in the heading, okay? So if you want to get hit on bicycles, it's good to have the word bicycle in the heading, okay, of your web page. Okay? Google is influenced by the more times that word appears, okay? So you want to say bicycle a lot on your web page. Yeah. Bicycle, 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 bicycle. You know? And there are, you know, some other things, okay, but there are some, you know, known ways of, you know, doing your web page so that you get higher hits. And in fact, there are books on this, you know, there are Wikipedia on this, and it basically changes from time to time. When people get good at finding out, you know, what Google's algorithm is, Google will change the algorithm. And the other search engines, you know, likewise, you know, do that. Kind of a game goes on, you know, between web people, web designers who want their web pages to be high in the rankings, okay, and the search engines, you know, that just want to do a good job, you know, in searching the internet for you. Well, I think you should go and look through some of these. Just kind of go through them. These parts down here are kind of one-liner things, okay. And so I'm not going to. I mean, I'm out of time anyway. But so, what should you do for the quiz coming up on Thursday? What's the best way to study for it? Yeah, exactly. Do the practice quizzes, okay. And which ones, which practice quizzes? The ones on the internet, the ones on spreadsheets. And yeah, yes. Do I look at, well, on the textbook, okay, you go to those chapters, okay, that are on internet, okay. Each section has a you know, a practice quiz. Oh, on Blackboard, well, on Blackboard, again, the textbook, okay, is, you know, go to the textbook, okay. And there are also other places on Blackboard,
assessments that we should practice? Like you said especially, so do the Excel one that says Microsoft Excel and the Microsoft PowerPoint one?
Yes.
Okay.
And internet.
Do we still have to look over Google Docs so we can go over it?
No, I'm not gonna, that won't be on.
Okay.
Grade 6 still? Yeah, you're like Southern. You are sick.
Did I get a check?
What?
Did I get a check?
For what?
Call my name. I didn't know.
I'm sorry, what's your name again?
Eduardo?
Oh yeah, Eduardo what?
Overguy?
You popped up the name.
Yeah, I gave you a check.
All right.
I know I received one too.
What's your name?
Eduardo
Eduardo what?
Hernandez.
No one ever talks to me. You're like, I don't pull that, right? Backwards? Too much.
Yeah, I gave you a check.
Oh, you only called on me once?
No, we got on you twice.
What's the other one?
Well, that was in the past, okay? I gave you a half or something. Okay?
Oh, okay.
Today, you get a 1. Okay?
Oh, okay. So,
Yeah.
once a month you can get, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. You said to prepare for the quiz to look on Blackboard and just do the practice assessments.
Yes.
And that would be on the assessments tab or the learning modules tab.
Well, I'm not sure. I was looking that up right now. I mean, it's actually on the textbook. Okay.
It's on the textbook.
Yeah. Yeah. You go to the.
I didn't buy the online one. I have the.
Well, then you can't look at it again.
All right.
Okay.
I don't care about this. We're playing with it. No, okay. I'll start from one side. It's in Florida. Georgia?